Welcome to Through the Looking Glass. This podcast takes a look of how our perceptions of ourselves and the world around us impacts how we relate to one another. The goal is to use the looking glass theory as a foundation while we discuss societal, cultural, and mental health concepts that allow us to build authentic relationships as we become authentic to ourselves, attracting the connections meant for us. So sit back, relax, and join in on the conversation.
I don't want pickles in my cake. So that zombie gets blocked off because that's not what I want. I'm making this.
But you like pickles. You don't have to put them in the cake.
But the cake is my happiness. The pickles is not.
What if you really like pickles? Like really?
Then disregard the cake. Then the cake is not your happiness, the pickles.
No, she wants to have her cake and her pickles too.
Exactly.
Oh, good job.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Relationships to the Podcast. We are going to be covering some interesting topics today. It's not Halloween, we're not in October yet, but this topic is something that I've been hearing a lot about, that I've experienced, and I've actually played these characters at one point. So I know firsthand what it does to relationships, what it does to somebody's self-esteem, and I think it's something that we really need to have a transparent conversation about. And what I'm talking about are ghosts, zombies, and imaginary friends. And I know a lot of people already know what ghosting is or what a ghost is. And that's, somebody who just completely disappears. You don't know what happened. They just stop talking to you and they're never to be seen or heard from again. And then we have zombies. These are the people who you think they're a ghost, but they keep coming back over and over again without any direction or goal. They just won't go away. And then you have imaginary friends who are the people that either give you a false narrative, or you take your expectations of what a relationship is, look at this person's potential, and build a whole character based off what you feel or think that should be, when it's not that person at all. So you're really dating somebody who doesn't exist, or as I like to call them, imaginary friends. So those are the 3 things we're going to be focusing on. We have our male counterpart today to talk about his experiences and his ideals about this whole situation and topic from a male's perspective. And then we have our co-host, Nicole, who's going to be assisting from the female's perspective. So to get things started, I'm going to hand over the mic to D. He's going to tell us about himself, his podcast, how to find him, and what his experiences are when he talks about ghosting or what a zombie is. So take it away, D.
Yes, so this is D, part of the No Good Sense podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Pandora, anywhere that podcasts are played. You can find us. Definitely have had my fair share of being the ghost and ghosting. I think I think everybody's played both ends of it, and I've definitely have a few zombies that that I've had to try to avoid in my lifetime. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to this ghastly conversation. I feel like we're going to end up talking people back up that I don't want to talk about.
Right, that would be right. It's a haunting.
It is.
This is kind of like a Ouija board right now, right? This all 3 of us might have some reservations when we get off. But yeah, I'm curious to hear all about your scary stories over there. So this is going to be interesting. How about you, Nicole? Tell the listeners. You guys already know. We've already Nicole's been here multiple times, but tell us a little bit about yourself, Nicole, and what your experiences are with ghosting, zombies, and imaginary friends.
Hello, everyone. I am Nicole. I'm an emotional intelligence consultant or coach. I work with mainly men and helping with communication to get results from their communication. My experience with ghosting has mainly been being ghosted and I think I have one experience actually ghosting, and both of them were learning experiences. So I came out of it with more knowledge that I had going into it. So excited to talk about this conversation and see what the different perspectives are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm all about transparency, right? And I guess I need to give up my side of the story here. Have I been ghosted? Yeah, I have. Have I been a ghost? Not intentionally. So it's kind of like, I felt I have given a lot of clues that I'm about to disappear before I actually disappear. So I'm like, I don't really think it's like really ghosting. It's kind of like fade away. I'll say, if you ask the person, they might be
You
like,
just fade to black.
yeah, like it's like a fade off. It's like she was here and she just kind of faded off. I don't know. I mean, if you ask the other person, they might be like, "Oh hell yeah, she ghosted." I'm like, I gave you some heads up. I was like, I wasn't talking as much, or I was emoji instead of responding. That was like some, yeah. Am I a zombie? I'm definitely a zombie, but it's only because he's a zombie. So.
so you blow,
unite.
so your way of blowing someone off and not being a quote unquote ghost is like just responding back with text emojis. Hey, good morning.
Right.
Thumbs up.
Except
How was your day today? Strong
Right?
arm.
First of all, you know the emojis, so you must be guilty too. Because and the strong arm is like my day is yes, I'm good.
Talk
About clear communication.
Right.
I feel
Like, hey, like I'm emojiing the hell out of you right now, dude. Take a hint.
Oh, that's terrible. Now, are there multiple emojis or is it just one? Like, just
Well,
one?
I'm creative now.
yeah,
I'm
her
a
emoji
creative.
game is strong.
Yeah, I'm like
Strong.
yeah, emoji. Oh, or GIF. I will GIF the hell out of you. But that's not necessarily meaning I'm about to ghost you. I just like GIFs. GIFs like express my inner self. So, but emojis, that's a heads up. An imaginary friend, absolutely. That's a whole piece of this podcast that I'm gonna be very honest about. But since you have already hinted to the fact that you already know what emojis to be used, and that you have been the ghost, talk to us, D. Share your experience with us. Tell us all about it.
Oh, being the ghost, that's sometimes I've been the ghost because I've put forward a terrible dating experience. So it's not always because the shoe was the person that I was dating was just like it was their fault. Sometimes I just found myself not interested halfway through the date. And I'm just like, all right, well, we can go ahead and end this.
Ooh.
And I'll say, because normally I'm not picking you up for a first date. I'm just not. We can just meet out. So walk back to your car, give you the church hug. And then the only text you really get from me is if you made it home safe.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, at least I care. I care to check on you.
You're nice.
Hey, you can call me Casper. I'm more of a Casper kind of ghost.
I literally called somebody Casper. Every time he would come around, I'm like, "What's up, Casper?" And he's like,
So at what point do you become the ghost? When they text you and then you just don't respond, or?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Much. So they
Yeah,
won't
that's
even get the
official.
thumbs up. That's just the yeah, I made it back home. And then sometimes they'll be like, I had a great time. And it's just crickets.
"Oh my gosh, that's so no! You cannot have Casper. You cannot have that name. You can't. You can't."
Look, and I don't send read
Emoji?
receipts either on my iPhone, so you don't even know if I saw your shit. It's
Ooh. Ooh. Has that ever backfired on you?
not yet.
Like if you see him out again, and then it's like, oh,
No,
that's that one girl.
I have not. No, I've not run into anybody that I've ghosted.
Oh, that's
good.
Or they saw you first.
Maybe, and they ducked off in an alley or something.
Yeah. But then like I'm gonna be like, hey guy, hey.
Remember me? Like, no, I don't. Did you
Oh,
get a
did you
return
lie?
text?
So you're a lying ghost?
I
Hey.
don't remember you. Okay. Did you get a return text? No, then
Ooh.
you've been erased from my memory.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. What's your sign? I have to know.
Aries.
Oh, yeah, you guys are fiery.
Yeah,
You guys
facts.
are fiery. Ooh.
Yeah, we start the astrological
Yeah.
zodiac sign, so
Mm,
And I end it. What?
yeah.
that's fine. Somebody's got to bring up the rear.
Nice. Oh, so let's talk about the times you've been ghosted. Or have you?
Yeah, I've definitely been ghosted. I've definitely been ghosted. I feel like the times I've been ghosted, I've been over eager on dates, like trying too hard. And it just came off as either like obnoxious or maybe kind of, I don't know. I don't really know how it came
Kinda
off because they never
creepy?
responded. I wouldn't say creepy. Like I'm not like creepy.
Stalkerish?
No, more
Okay.
like yeah, just trying too hard. Like you try to do too much.
Hmm. And what's your
So
ratio of ghost to the ghosted? Have you been ghosted more or have you been the ghost more?
um I would say now that I'm older, like halfway through my 30s, I would say I stopped doing the whole ghosting thing because it's just like it's rude. So you gotta give people a reason as to why I'm not gonna talk to you anymore.
Right.
But in my early days, I was definitely more of a ghost than anything else. I was definitely more of a ghost than anything.
Okay, so
So
as speaking for the male,
yeah, my block
perspective.
game was strong.
Up. Why do you feel you ghosted? What was it? Was it I'm not gonna put
Conflict
words in.
avoidance. It's
Okay.
purely conflict avoidance. It's a lot of times you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings because and most times if I ghost you, you did something that just really rubbed me the wrong way, or it's something about you that I just can't tolerate or want to tolerate.
Right.
Um, but I also like don't feel like being your life coach. So I'll just walk away from the situation early, like no harm, no foul. Um, so that was more. I feel like that was more my reason of being a ghost, just kind of avoiding conflict, not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings more than need be.
Did you ever think about how the impact would be on the other person before you did it?
No, not really. From previous experiences, trying to let people off gently, um, it tends to go, well, why what's wrong with me? What can I do better? Is there anything that I could do to make this work? And I'm like, well, first off, I don't really know you like that. I'm just telling you that I'm already getting the sense that this isn't working for me. Clearly, the way that you're reacting to it, I'm not going to want to pursue this any further.
Right,
So,
right.
uh, and yeah, that tended to be a trend. So it was something that I just didn't want to deal with anymore. It became more of a headache.
Got you. So conflict. So like you said, not having to deal with that. Okay. What about zombies?
I hate the ones that come back from the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate the ones, and it's hard because like I don't change my phone number often, so
They have access all the time.
right. So I try to keep my phone list of people that I actually talk to on occasion. So I'll up if you're in my contact list, I talk to you from time to time. I may not be every week, but at least twice a year. You know, at least twice a year. That's the minimum qualification that I either text you or talk to you at least twice a year.
That's smart.
Yeah, and it could be random stuff. Oh, hey, how you doing? How your kids? How your parents? Are you still alive? Great. Talk to you in 6 months.
So is that a zombie interaction or is that just you checking in on somebody?
It depends on who the person checking in is.
Got you.
Because you're gonna end up having to block the zombies that are checking in for the wrong reasons.
Happy 4th of July. Happy
See, yeah, exactly. Right.
Juneteenth.
Happy Arbor Day.
Right.
Right.
What the actual hell do I respond with that?
A tree.
A tree
It's a tree.
emoji.
Yep.
That's perfect.
So those zombies are the ones that people hit back with the thumbs up like you do, or the, you know, sunshine face and whatnot, and then eventually just block them.
But what about the zombies who there's still an emotional tie to? Have you had that type of zombie where you don't want to block them, but it's like, oh, you're still here.
Yeah, but you know what? When you have that kind of zombie, it's more so because of mistiming.
Right.
So, like for instance, you might try to talk to that person and they're not in a position to date at that time. And then by the time that they are looking to try to date, you might be in a relationship, right? So then here comes this zombie checking in on you. Oh, hey, how's everything going? Oh, I'm good. You know, I'm in a relationship now with so and I'm happy. Okay. And then, you know, 2 years down the road or a year down the road, you cycling back because so done pissed you off and y'all ain't together no more. But now this person is talking to somebody else, or even they might not be emotionally available, and then you end up having a booty call.
Right.
So it depends. It really kind of depends on what that relationship was prior to zombie mode, which kind of determines, at least for me, what kind of zombie this person is.
So,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the block status, right?
Do what?
Right.
I said, and the block status. So like whether you block them or not.
Right. There's some legitimate zombies that you probably have in your phone that you're like, I'm not doing anything with this person, but you know, I do enjoy talking to them occasionally. You know?
Could it be an ego stroke?
I don't know. I think sometimes you build friendships out of kind of failed relationship attempts, as long as it wasn't like heartbreak.
Right.
I think you could be friends with someone that you kind of mistimed with, as long as y'all aren't actively trying to time sync. You know what I'm saying? I guess not actively trying to hook up if you're in a relationship.
Right.
If they can respect boundaries, and as long as it wasn't something that was serious. If you went on 1 or 2 dates with somebody, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, what the fuck? Why are you asking them for a reference for a job? Like, nah, it's okay. it's fine. Like, I understand sometimes stuff just doesn't work out. You look at somebody and be like, look, we could be good friends, but I really have no interest dating you. And so
you
sometimes
believe male and females can be platonic friends?
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
a lot of people who are like, no, they can't.
No, I mean they absolutely can. It all depends on where that friendship kind of stemmed from. It's like there's obviously people have friendships that have stemmed out of relationships. Like if you get married, have kids and stuff like that, you try to maintain some type of friendship with your ex, right? Because y'all have this shared child. Not that you're trying to be with them, but you're just trying to keep peace in your life, right?
Right.
So but then there's times where you might have got set up on a blind date. Okay, let's say a friend set you up on a blind date, or you tried to go out with somebody at your job or something. Y'all went out once or twice, had fun, but there's really no, sexual or physical chemistry there. You kind of just went out with the person off a suggestion or because they were nice. I don't see why you can't develop a friendship from that. I haven't seen you naked. You haven't seen me naked. So
right. I feel you. I agree. I definitely, most of my friends are males. So, I mean, when people come at me like, there, you can't have a platonic male friend. I'm like, actually, that's kind of almost all I have. I just get along better with dudes. I don't know. But
most females say that.
Huh?
Most females say that. They say that they get along better with guys, and that intimidates whatever guy that they're talking to. I mean, you have to be comfortable in your own position, because I don't have time to monitor your friends.
Right. Exactly. So we've heard your experience with ghosts and zombies. What about imaginary friends? Have you ever dealt with anybody who kind of gave you a false narrative of who they were? Or have you ever dealt with somebody who you kind of built a whole persona based on potential and not on reality?
So I have definitely had a run-in with an imaginary player. God, I was still living in Jersey, and it was so many years ago. But so I was talking to a young lady. I cannot remember her name for the life of me, and she was trying to break into the acting world. Um, she was on some show, Rescue 911, but it's like as an extra or something like that. She wasn't like a main character or anything. So but she would make it seem like, oh, I'm on set all day, I'm this, I'm that, I'm doing all this stuff. And we're talking, actively talking. So you try to be supportive of people's dreams. You don't want to just start crushing people, especially when you try to date them. So she made it seem to me as if we were in some sort of relationship per se. Like you're calling me all the time, you want to hang out with me all the time. So this the impression given to me is you want to try to do something. So um long story short, this person did, was this person we really had a really really bad date for my birthday, to where she asked me to go out for my birthday because she missed it, because she was on set.
She's on set.
She's on set. She missed my birthday. She asked me to go out to make it up. So I was like, okay. We go out to some restaurant. She's ordering food, ordering whatever the heck she wants and drinks and stuff like that. And then when the bill comes, she just slides me the bill. Talk about, you gonna take care of that? And I was like, wait a minute, no.
Oh, on your birthday?
Yes, for my birthday dinner.
Oh,
For my
wow.
birthday dinner. So I turned to the couple next to me. I said, hey, my man, who asked who to come here? And the girl stopped and she said, I asked him to come. I said, oh, okay. Who's paying? She said, I am. I was like, oh, okay. So then obviously my date's getting pissed off at me because now I'm in full asshole bloom mode.
Aries.
Aries
Yep.
mode.
I am, Aries mode activated.
Activated.
So I get to the waitress and I literally tell her, I was like, I will pay for my meal and my drinks. I'm not paying for this appetizer because I don't eat mushrooms. So and then she'll take care of everything else. Here's my card. And so I swiped my card, I left her a nice tip, and then I got up and left the girl at the table.
Perfect.
How did this end?
So she got upset with me, and I don't know how she paid. So, but I got hooked up with her through a friend of my brother's. That's how I ended up meeting her. So I called him and told him what happened immediately. He calls her best friend and tells her what happens on a three-way. And then while we're having this conversation, her friend calls her to try to say that this was my fault. So this ended up turning into a four-way phone call.
Wow.
Where the two girls kind of went at it. And she was just like, you just embarrassed me as a friend. I just can't even deal with you anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, you gotta watch out for those false narratives.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes. It feels like that has been my whole life, has been imaginary friends. Like, for real. Nicole, what about you? What have your experiences been with ghosts, zombies, and imaginary friends?
Imaginary friends is what I go back and forth, like, did I dream that really happened? Or a gentleman I was dating him, and we went out on a camping trip with like his family. So I'm like, okay, we're kicking it with family, jet ski, yada yada yada. Come back. This is with his kids. So I'm like, if this was a non-dating situation, I wouldn't be around family, and especially in front of the kid. And then one time he kissed me in front of the kid. And I'm like, okay, so like, what does that mean? And so of course, in an attempt to like clarify, I'm like, what is that? And he's like, that means we're friends. I'm like, oh, okay, so you tongue kiss all of your friends in front of your kid? This is you take all your friends, you know, on camping trips? Like, okay. So moving forward, I was like, you know, just a lot of the behavior did not match what he was saying. So I was royally confused the whole time. And at the time I really liked him. So I was just going with the flow until one day he invites me to help design his engagement ring.
What?
Yes. And I was like, wait, what?
Wow. Wow.
And I was completely shocked, like, what the heck? But he still went further and sent me invitations to the wedding and was following up, like, come to my wedding. I'm like, what?
That is terrible.
What? So I was just left like, I'm so confused. I didn't go to the wedding, and I finally just had this to ghost him. Like, I don't even know what you're doing, and I'm not doing what you're doing. So now you're ghosted. Anyway, long story short, after I ghosted him, he shows up at my house unannounced, throwing rocks at my window in the middle of the night.
Was he holding up a boombox outside?
No, I was so scared. I was under my bed. I was like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I don't even want to look out. But anyway, long story short, like, I had to do the strong arm ghost. And so in that instance, I felt like the ghosting was necessary, you know, and it wasn't done out of like ill will or trying to hurt somebody's feelings.
Justifiable. That's super justifiable ghosting.
Agreed.
Right. So that's where I say there is justifiable ghosting. And so that is one of my, like, okay, I have settled in my mind, I'm okay with actually doing that. But otherwise, I'm a communications person. And so in other instances where I thought open communication was there, and 1 minute, you know, we go on a trip, everything's nice, come back, and I'm like, that was so great, it was awesome. Nothing. Okay, maybe you're busy. Maybe you're working. A couple of days later, I'm like, wait a minute, this is weird. So I ended up ghosting, and then he turns into a zombie months later, and come to find out, like you said, Dee, I had done something to where he was upset, but didn't say, hey, that upset me.
Yep.
So, yep, that's exactly. So I was like, oh, okay, well, it would have been nice. The problem was he's not used to a person handling the situation in a mature manner. So once we talked about it, I was like, oh, okay, I see the error in my ways. My bad. I apologize. Here's how I could have handled that in a different manner. Bingo, bango, we're cool, right? Like, we didn't even need to like continue on, but he didn't know how to receive the apology. So he just kept holding on to it, and it was like further penalizing for something. And I had to continually remind him, like, remember, I apologize for that.
Right. Keeps throwing it in your face.
Right. Like, I don't know if I could trust you. And I'm like, okay, what? So at that point, I had to pull ties. Like, okay, if you can't, you know, if you're able to communicate that this is where the issue is, please be open to receiving the feedback, the growth, the apology, whatever it is to move forward. If not, then stop communication again. So there's that, and that was the zombie situation. That is no longer.
Oh wow.
And
have you ever been ever been a zombie?
No, I hate to say it. Like, I don't have any relations with anybody that's an ex. Like, I don't talk to them. I'm one of those weirdos that's like, I don't even need to be friends with you. I don't care how you're doing. You don't care how I'm doing. So you're not on my phone. You don't call me.
I don't think that's weirdo at all. I think there's a healthy aspect to that depending on the individual. Like, for me, be it that after the emotional garbage is resolved, I can still communicate with ex people. So some people might consider me weird. I don't know, D, can you communicate with exes after things have resolved?
Sometimes I didn't have a choice. I'm divorced, so I had to.
Yes, Yes,
You have to.
exactly. Yeah.
There are some situations where you just got to grab your stuff and man up and deal with it. And
Actually, I'm better friends with my ex-husband now than I was when we were in the marriage. We get along
right.
better now outside of the marriage as co-parents. So I can completely relate to that.
Yep. So I
That-
mean, it's you gotta you just gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah, for the kids, especially
Right.
for the kids. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. Like it was easier for me and the kids to cut off all contact from the other partner. So I haven't talked to that person in a decade. And
Yeah.
like the kids are great and they have, they can communicate freely. I just don't need to be a part of it.
Right. And I mean, you know what? Sometimes it's it really just depends on the emotional baggage that came with the relationship.
Mhm, mhm.
So I mean, if you really like if there was an all bad relationship and you just were just happy to get out of it, why would you want to communicate with that person again? Even
Right.
if it was just a really bad friendship, why would you want to communicate with them again? So
Right.
I don't. It's not a problem not being a zombie. It's just-
Yeah, right. Yeah, like that's not a bad thing. But how about imaginary friends, Nicole? What's your experience in that realm?
Yeah, with the that's me all day. And that's because, they want to portray or I want to see the best in them. And, oh, they're a good father, they have integrity, blah, blah, blah. And so when I'm, uncovering like, wait a minute, you're not, you don't have ethics. Wait a second, you're not a good person.
like,
And
you're
it
a real
usually comes
dickhole.
right. I'm all, wait a second, how did I miss that? But a lot of times it comes from third party exposing that person as opposed to like, something happened specifically with me.
Mhm.
But yeah, the false false friends, I have those.
It can be exhausting, right? I know, like, I can't really speak to ghosting as in straight up. I know when I stop talking to this person on this phone call, I will never talk to this person again. Like, because I kind of, like I said, trail off,
Mhm.
but I can speak to the zombie experience and imaginary friends. Like, for me, and here's a question for both of you: how long is too long for somebody to be a zombie? Like, how long is too long?
I don't know if there's an expiration date on that.
I agree. I had one for 10 years, in and out, in and
Hmm.
out.
Agreed.
Right.
I have a zombie that's going on 2 decades.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no expiration date on it.
Well, the
Yeah.
expiration date would be when you decide, like when
Well,
you're ready,
yeah,
like, all right, I'm now, I
Enough's
don't know.
enough, right?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Like, how do you kill the zombie?
Headshot.
Yes, there you go. When you're ready for the headshot, then it's a done deal.
And that's something that has to come from you, right? That's something where it's like,
Right.
okay, enough. I'm not going to keep engaging beyond this. And that's something that you really have to do that inner work, because there's a reason why you still engage. There's a reason why a zombie doesn't end up being a ghosting experience, because something in that interaction is feeding you.
Hmm.
And it's like, what exactly is it? So, and then for you to respond back, I mean, that kind of makes you a participating player in this return from the dead experience, right?
Absolutely.
So it's
Mhm.
kind of like, are
Zombie
you
love.
yeah,
So then your
zombie
zombies
love.
activated.
Hashtag zombie love. Damn it, there we go. We're gonna make that famous. Hashtag zombie love. And then the imaginary friends, like you said, Nicole, I'm really guilty of that, because you do want to see the best in people. Or you're like, oh, this person has potential. I can see him doing this, or I can see us doing this. And you have a whole story planned out, a whole script that this person has no idea they're even part of the play. And then you
Exactly.
get mad when they don't play their part. Like, why aren't you playing your part? And they're
Yeah,
like, what the hell are you talking about?
people like to set expectations in their head and not vocalize them, and then try to hold you to things that you don't know about.
Exactly. And that can be damaging. And any of these behaviors honestly can be damaging, because let's look at zombie. This is for both of you. Zombie type of behavior. If you're trying to go into a new relationship, how are you able to maintain interacting with, especially if there's feelings involved? How are you able to interact with the zombie? Because the zombie could come and resurface every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. If you're in another relationship, how does that play a role in that impact with that? Because I know for me, even though I have a zombie and I do play that role sometimes, if the tables are turned and the dude I'm talking to has some ex chick that keeps resurfacing, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to set that. If he's in a committed relationship with you, and that zombie comes back, sniffing around, trying to, have some fun, then you would expect for him to shut that down.
Absolutely.
Right. But let's flip it. Then what if you're the zombie and the person you keep coming back around to is in the relationship? Do you still have that responsibility to stop that?
Yeah, I mean, you have the responsibility to not cross certain lines if you reach out.
Okay.
Like, I feel like there's a one line step policy where I can warn you once, and then after that, I just block you.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's good, right? Because now you're setting a boundary. I'm in a relationship and this behavior is not going to be acceptable.
Correct.
But what does it say about you, though, in that relationship if you don't set that boundary? Say you have, you're in a relationship, things are going well, the zombie keeps coming back and going away and coming back. If you don't set that boundary, is that saying there's something not secure or stable in the relationship you're in because you're entertaining this person coming back and forth into your life?
So here's how I look at it. When we are, mature and grown and, have done the self-work, we all have our, not our list, but like the things that we're looking for in a relationship. To me, that would be like the example of like a cake. So when I want to bake a cake, I got these certain ingredients for this particular cake. Now the zombie is something wild like pickles. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, do I want to put pickles in this cake? No, I don't want pickles in my cake. So that zombie gets blocked off because that's not what I want. I'm making this.
But you like pickles. You don't have to put them in the cake.
But the cake is my happiness. The pickles is not.
What if you really like pickles? Like really?
Then disregard the cake. Then the cake is not your happiness, the pickles.
No, she wants to have her cake and her pickles too.
Exactly.
Oh, good job.
See?
Love them damn pickles.
Possible. Not possible.
I mean, if that's something that you really want to do, then you need to set the expectation with your partner and say, hey, I really like this cake. But I got this hankering for pickles too.
Right.
So
exactly. Right, yeah.
Is this something you could be cool with? If not, you gotta let me know. Let me know from the beginning. Just tell me now.
That's true. And that comes down to communication. Absolutely. And just for the record, that's not my thing. Like if I'm all about the cake, I'm all about the cake. Well, I can.
Are you though? Because pickles just keep coming around.
Let's really think about this, Michelle. Like, let's be honest here. Like, I really like pickles. Yeah, let's move on from that.
Pickles stirs your soul. Like cake sustains you. Cake is you love your cake. Like you love your cake. Cake is everything you want cake to be.
Pickles is like something different.
Yeah, but that pickle just stirs your soul sometimes, man. It's like the angel just came and touched the water.
Right, and the pickles is always there. Like I don't care what's going on. I know I can call them pickles. Okay.
But what if you were able to focus on one and then the other? So it's almost like if you're reading a book and you actually finish that chapter so you can move on versus I'm going to read 2 pages from chapter 1, 3 pages from chapter 6. Like instead of bopping around, you actually finish the chapter, you're done. I liked that chapter, cool,
But it's like watching
or keep
reruns,
reading.
Right. How
That's
many
what the
times have you
ticker
seen The
was.
Office?
right?
Right.
I really like that episode.
Right.
Uh,
Shoot. I've seen Michael Scott's farewell episode like 4 or 5 times. I've probably seen every Office episode 4 or 5 times.
Just keeps calling you back.
Yeah, pickles.
Pickles. But I hear what you're saying, Nicole, and it's not really fair for the individual that you're with if you have not had that conversation. Like, hey, are you cool with me engaging and talking to so and so? And they're like, no, absolutely not, because that's me. My response is no, absolutely not. Like, but I'm very upfront. Like, I have a jealous streak. My jealous streak is not going to be in front of your house throwing stuff at your car, slashing your tires. My jealous streak comes through in emotional stuff. Like, I don't know, I might go buy myself some food and not get you some, like stuff like that, like petty stuff.
You come in with their favorite meal, but it's for you, not for them.
Exactly. Like,
Queen Petty.
Pissed me off. Like, I have degrees of petty. So, but I'm gonna
There's
tell you
levels
straight
to
up,
it.
I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with your zombie or anything like that, because that's a boundary issue, kind of like what you said, Dee, and kind of like what you were saying about finishing off the chapter, Nicole. But when you do have a zombie that you're emotionally connected with, do you both feel that there needs to be some unpackaging on why you can't let that go?
For me, I definitely had to figure out why was this person why did I allow this person in and out, in and out, in and out? And honestly, I can say once I was able to cut the ties, it was really freeing. Like, at first it was scary, like, oh gosh, I don't have a landing spot, if you will. But then it was almost like the door to potential happiness with or whoever kind of kicked open. And so I felt much better and more freeing after I did it, as opposed to like, well, I could do this. It was less calculated, if you will.
Right.
So I say cut the tie.
So
yeah, moving right along. right along.
Okay. So ghosting. We're gonna pull off the zombie topic. Ghosting. So what are some alternatives though? Because when you talk about ghosting, the other person on the other side, that can really actually hurt. You know what I'm saying? That can really actually damage somebody's self-worth, self-esteem, to where they feel there's something wrong with them. There's like even a whole MTV show called Ghosted, where people who are ghosted find the people who did it and ask them why they did it. And it can really cause some deep-seated issues. So is there any other alternative to ghosting other than, we talked about straight up communication, like you were saying, Dee. Straight up communication should be the way to go. But, I know I do my trail off. But is there any other thing, like if somebody's listening and they're like, I don't like confrontation, I don't want to be this person's life coach, is there any other way that we can say this is not working out without it being, I immediately disappear tomorrow and you'll never see me again?
What, you want to send them a flower arrangement?
An edible.
Yeah. Send them an edible arrangement.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe if you preface it like, this is not up for discussion. Just to be fair, I wanted to, give you like, I hate to say closure because no response is closure, but, I wanted to give you this. It's not up for discussion. I didn't have a good time on that date. I really don't want any more. I wish you well in life. Have a good night. Like,
right. But see, that's still the direct communication. And a lot of people are not, they do not like confrontation. A lot of people are very passive aggressive and don't like confrontation, especially when it comes to somebody's emotions. And a lot of times, it's funny because my grandmother, God rest her soul, she told me this when I was a teenager. She's like, in every relationship you get into, somebody likes the other person more than the other. You never like each other equally. You never love each other equally. Somebody's going to love the other person more than the other.
Right.
She's like, and your grandfather loved me more than I loved him. Like that's what, of course, she's gonna throw that part in there. But she used to tell me that all the time. So when you tell somebody, this isn't working out for me for XYZ, or I don't want to continue talking to you for whatever reason, to you, that could be closure. To them, that could be opening a whole nother wound, a whole nother door of, well, let me prove to you that I can be everything you need. And now you've created a whole other situation. Now you might have a stalker on your hands, or or that zombie who keeps coming back trying to prove to you that they're doing the things that you want.
I'm doing all the things.
Yep. You said you like rock climbing, but I don't really like nature, so I got allergy shots, right? And look at me climb this tree.
Look at me. Yep. And for me, like something too that I have learned to do, this might not be a great thing because it kind of sounds like manipulation. And I hate to throw the M word out, especially because people like to tie manipulation and Pisces together. But just hear me out. Mm-hmm. So having a conversation that circulates it back to them to make it seem like it's their idea. Like, I'm going to give you a get out of jail free card. This kind of feels icky right now. And, how does it feel to you? And they can be like, oh, it feels great. And then I can just give some examples, but when we did this, we argued and this, that, and the other, and then start to get them to be like, you know what, you're right. Maybe this isn't working out. And then I'm off the hook. It's their idea.
Wow.
Was that bad?
You should totally paint the picture of like their ideal woman. Like, by me being in your way, you're
you can't get to her.
Right.
I'm freaking garbage.
There you go.
What if he tells you? What if he tells you? What if he tells you? Well, I'm trying to settle.
Oh,
see, now that backfires on you.
What you didn't know was
he's like, look, baby, I'm 45. I'm just trying to settle down here. You're cute.
Hey,
let's just have some fun.
I'm like, however you're trying to settle, I'm not the one. That's not it.
But you know what?
Let's just have some companionship.
At the end of the day, I'm still out. Like if that's the conversation he wants to end it with, that's cool. Make him feel a little bit manly about himself, but like, oh, you thought you were settling with me? But like, cool, deuces. And I'm off the hook. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying manipulation is the way to go. I'm just saying if you're able to kind of circle it back to make it seem like it's their idea and give them examples of why it's not working out. I'm just dropping the conversation. I mean, you can end up having somebody at your house slashing tires. You know what I'm saying? Like
either way, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right either way. No, but if they think it's their idea.
Until they realize it wasn't. They end up more angry.
Well, you got to date people that you're smarter than. I'm joking. I was told manipulation too, so I'm just joking. So some alternatives to ghosting is direct communication, sending an edible arrangement or flowers, or just trying to give them examples of why something isn't going to work. And if they think it's their idea, that's even better. You know what I'm saying? What I'm really just wanting to do is provide conversation around, for some people who have been ghosted, there can be long-term impacts where they don't even want to attempt dating again because it's been a repetition with who they deal with. Now, if you are being ghosted over and over again, would you say that might be something where you need to look at yourself?
Yeah, I was going to say that's grounds for self-reflection. Like if you notice that it keeps happening, self-reflection needs to happen.
Or if you have to call MTV, then there's some self-reflecting that needs to happen.
For either catfish or ghosted.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like anything.
I feel like if you have to call catfish because you've been talking to somebody online, but you can't video chat them for 3 years, you're an idiot.
Right.
That's the kind of the long and short of that. You're just an idiot.
Especially now since everybody has access. Like back in the day when it first started,
Mhm.
That might, everybody might not have had the phones and the webcams, but now you can't get away from cameras.
Yep.
Like, you legit can't get away from them.
Yep.
So if
And
you have
everybody's
witnessed,
got unlimited data. So they ain't
yeah,
no, oh, you know why my data low, so I can't video chat with you.
why is it all dark? I can't even.
Right. You don't look like your pictures. Oh, yeah, it's just the angle of the laptop camera. It's an old
Right.
camera.
What? And then you're really talking to a ghost. Like, I can't even see you. Now we're talking to shadow figures.
Yep.
So
But
yeah,
they'll be cracking me up 3 years talking to the same person. You ain't never seen this person live.
yeah.
Right.
But then wouldn't that kind of highlight something that person has that they would allow this to continue? Like, maybe
Mhm.
it's because I don't want to.
Mhm.
I
Like the
mean,
desperation to keep someone around for 3 years. Like, at what point do you say, I'm not happy, goodbye?
but think about it like this, right? It's the emotional attachment that you have to that figment of your imagination. Because you
Mhm.
haven't met this person.
The
So it's,
imaginary friend.
yep, they're a
Mhm.
figment of your imagination. I equate this to the same thing as people who date somebody who's in jail. Like,
Ooh, yes.
it's a controlled emotional relationship. You know where this person is, you know what they're doing, they can only communicate with you at certain times, and you have this routine that you've built up. And now you've got this emotional connection where you're getting something from the relationship, you're getting fulfillment from the relationship, maybe not physically, but emotionally you're getting fulfillment from it. So I can see why people can be attached, but me personally, I'm not that type.
And that
Doesn't
kind
work
of
for me.
lets us go into a little deeper as we get close to wrapping it up. How about not ghost people who aren't ghosting just because I don't want confrontation, I don't want to deal with this? What about the individuals who are ghosting because they feel it's going to happen to them, or this relationship
Mm,
feels too good? I have a fear of abandonment, so I'm bouncing before they do it to me. What about
yeah,
that example?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's fear of rejection doesn't necessarily have to just be in the beginning.
Right.
So you can be, a year's 5 years in, and all of a sudden it's like, you know what, this is going a little too good. I got to throw a monkey wrench in it.
Right, right. And that's like a whole nother level of discussion, right? Because
Yeah,
now it's like, I really
self-destruction.
like you, but I think I'm gonna get you before you get me.
Yeah,
Because either some facade's gonna fall off, or there's something that's gonna happen, or this feels really close to a previous relationship that ended really nasty. So I need to leave before you do it to me. And
exactly.
that's a whole nother issue. And
Well, do you,
and it's safe because you're keeping yourself safe. It's kind of like when you're dating these people who are in jail, or somebody who might be unavailable, be it
Hmm.
married or whatever, or it's a safety thing because you can never be fully committed to that person because of whatever reason. So you're safe.
Right.
well, do
And
you
that's a
think
whole nother issue.
do you think the people that are pre-ghosting, if you will, they're ghosting before they get ghosted, are aware that these are the motions that they're doing? Or do you genuinely think they find something and it's like, oh no, he wore a blue shirt on Thursday, I cannot, girl, I'm out?
So
And
like looking for something.
subconsciously, right, like making a legit reason in their own mind to leave, versus this is going too well, I think I'm going to step away because I have abandonment issues.
You're right. It's
Like,
self-sabotage. It
I just think that people are unaware that that's what they're doing until someone says, hey, could you be self-sabotaging that? Then it's like,
right.
oh yeah, the light bulb goes on.
I agree. I was
Mm.
called a runner for my zombie.
Use a
My
track
zombie calls
spell.
me a runner.
Mm.
Isn't that funny? Think about that. The zombie calls me a runner. But at first,
They're the zombie.
yeah,
Mhm.
well, that's a whole nother layer. But at first, I was unaware of that. But yeah, I do have a tendency when things get too emotional, I check out.
Hmm.
But somebody had to bring that to my attention. Just happened to be the zombie. So yeah, I definitely, and I like you said, Nicole, I was unaware I was doing it, and actually I was fighting it, like I do that. But then when I started to look at my life and I'm like, oh, he has a point. Yeah, I do. I am a runner in certain experiences. So, and I didn't know. So to answer your question, Nicole, I don't think people all the time, they know they're doing it, because self-sabotaging your relationships is a form of running. It could be a form of ghosting, because you could, there's something that this person does, you can make it be so big that you're like, I don't ever want to talk to you again, and I'm gonna disappear.
Right.
So that's something where you kind of have to look at yourself, like you both have said, like, why am I ghosting? Why am I running? Why am I disappearing? So each area has like a whole different dynamic. The ghosts have their own dynamic, zombies have their own dynamic, and your imaginary friends have their own dynamic. But at the end of the day, they make it difficult to build, foster, nurture relationships. So before we wrap it up, question to both of you. If you feel this type of behavior coming on, either as a ghost, you feel yourself being a zombie, or an imaginary friend, or building up somebody into an imaginary friend, what are things that you can do for yourself to stop that behavior?
Ghost them. Oh wait, we weren't supposed to use that as an answer. Okay.
No, that was not.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
So for me moving forward, I learned that the ghost is basically like a gift to myself, almost like the trash taking themselves out. Like, oh, okay, why would you want to be with somebody who's not going to be, or doesn't have the ability to communicate with you to repair or not? So, okay, I don't want to be with that person anyway, versus, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I wish he would tell me what's wrong with me. You know, like, yeah, no, he's not it. Cool. Next, or do some healing next. You know, that's just me.
What about the zombie?
Well, I remember I'm the weirdo. I don't have zombies. I don't.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
that's right. That's right.
I'm like, well,
you cut it off. Okay, what
right.
about imaginary friends?
So the imaginary friends, like, this is where, you know, you got to have your dream team of like people that you trust. Where I'm like, are we picking up on this? Does it look like he has ethics? Okay, he has ethics. This is important. Is he moving in integrity? Okay, yes, this is good things. You know, confirmation, you know, and then of course, like we learned in a prior podcast, they are showing these things in other realms of their life. So taking a true step back. So like, okay, is this person always honest or partially honest? Is this person a good person in general, looking at their whole life in totality as opposed to what they are showing me and me only?
Right. And that's good. And that's awesome. Yeah, to bring that from the other podcasts. Look at how they act and how they interact with people outside of your relationship. So that, I'm glad you brought that back up. And Dee, since you're going to close this out, what would be your suggestion or ideas or support that you can give people listening on if you see any of these behaviors, be it a ghost, be it a zombie, or an imaginary friend? What would you say to these individuals?
I would say if you are the one being ghosted, don't immediately take it personal. A lot of times it's a blessing in disguise. For your imaginary friends, it's definitely, you know, I feel like that where the imaginary friend is like that 90-day window where you're trying to get to know that person and they're trying to put their representative in front of you. So you definitely got to have a strong team that can help you look through this representative that they have out here and actually see the real person that you're talking to. So it's almost a collaborative effort. It really is.
Friends are a bunch of haters.
Then they're not your friends.
Then ding, ding, ding. There you go.
Okay. I don't have a friend that will sit here and try to stop me from being in a healthy relationship.
That's smart.
So if they see that even if I'm exhibiting something that's going to get me messed up, they're not going to sit there and foster it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
And how about zombie?
Zombies are gonna be real judgment calls. Is it worth keeping this person around? If if it's affecting somebody that if that zombie's affecting your relationship, then you can't let them come around. Like you can't talk to that person. That's just my longest story.
Pickles.
You and your pickles.
Damn it.
But do you see how your pickles are like they've got your vision skewed? Like you can't see you have a cake right here because you're distracted by this pickle.
Okay.
I'm like, pickles, get out of here.
Crunchy pickles.
You got to go. It's cake on.
So awesome. And I guess and like co-signing what Dee and Nicole said, communication throughout the whole experience needs to be something to look at. So if you're communicating and you're noticing things are off, say it when it happens. I even when I'm at work and I have to coach and mentor people, when you see a behavior, talk about it when it happens instead of letting something build up and then you're like, deuces, I can't take it. You'll never talk or see me again. Exactly. I'm going to be like, when you don't respond to my text messages, that pisses me off. I might not use that strong verbiage, but I need responsiveness. I need consistency. Somebody who's inconsistent, that's annoying. That's really annoying, which is funny because if I think about a zombie, that's what they're built on is inconsistency, right? But that's why I run. But communicate to as soon as behaviors happen. So when it is time to have difficult conversations, you have an evidence-based approach to say, okay, when this happened, I let you know. When this happened, I let you know. Now, I'm talking about this as a substantial type of relationship. If you just had a date with somebody, like his example earlier, and by the end of the date, it's not going to work out. Not gonna work out. Like this was nice and whatnot, but I just don't see it moving any further than this. But if you can't say it, say that. I don't know. We had an example of justifiable ghosting, but I don't know. I just hate to leave this conversation by saying it's okay. It's okay. I don't know, guys.
I think it's all situational.
Yeah.
Right. I do have to say with my EI hat on, I do want to say when you are communicating your feelings or whatever, process them first, because we all know that we don't communicate intelligently when we're at a heightened emotional level. So process the emotion and figure out what really is the deal. That way you can communicate in an effective manner as opposed to just like, I'm pissed off. Okay, now you're fired up and it makes things worse. So pause for a second. I know you wanted that text message back, girl, but
but sometimes that angst, sometimes that emotion, when it's time to make up, you can just bring all that in there. Okay, that was not healthy. I'm sorry. That is not healthy.
Right.
But it's
depends
fun.
on who you making up with.
Well, I know. That's all.
Not pickles.
That's a whole nother topic.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay. We're wrapping it up. I'm gonna throw the mic back to Dee so he can remind the listeners where to find him, his crew, when they put out their episodes. So
yes. So we No Good Sense. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, anywhere podcasts are found. We do a weekly live show Fridays at 9 p.m. on Podbean. So you can follow us on there as well, and to tap in for the live shows, call in and air your grievances.
I will say they are hilarious. I listened from start to finish. They are hilarious. Yeah. It's a whole crew of them, and they're drinking. Like I want to be down. I want to do that.
There are other libations around as well. It is Michigan.
That's what was going on.
Yeah, that too.
I don't know what was going on, but I know we were pissed off about them lights. That's what
I was definitely upset about that.
We were mad about the electricity. I do know that. And now you guys have a cliffhanger and you have to go listen, so you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But thank you so much,
Yes.
Steve, for being on to talk about ghosts, zombies, and imaginary friends, and Nicole for helping me co-pilot. Everybody who's listening, absolutely let us know what your opinion is about ghosting. Have you been ghosted? Are you a zombie? Do you have a zombie? Let us know. How do you handle that? And yeah, check us out on Instagram, on YouTube. Love to hear it. And you guys take care, stay safe, and be well.
Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle.
Hey, check this out. Because I know you wanna. I really know you do. You wanna start a podcast. So, why don't you hit up Anchor? It's the easiest way to get your podcast up and running, and it's free. Plus, they have creation tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone or computer. Plus, they'll even distribute it for you, so you don't even have to get behind the scenes and do any of that geeky, nerdy stuff. You just hit record and start talking. Anchor does the rest. So if you want to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many others, and let the world hear what you have to say, check it out. What do you have to lose? Did I mention it's free? Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And remember, even though mental health concepts might have been discussed, we are not a replacement for professional help. And if anything triggered you in this episode, please reach out to your local professional mental health specialist to seek assistance. You can also find us in the webs at The Looking Glass Podcast on Instagram and also on our YouTube channel, Through the Looking Glass. Check out some of our inserts, check out some of our guests, and links to other guest podcasts. Thanks for listening. Can't wait to talk to you again.